Chris, my first question is you faced just spotted aside the team bottom of the league. You now face the team top of the league at home. So what kind of game can we expect, and how do you set your stall out?
No different in terms of the approach and attitude to the game. We're going there we're not going there. We're going to play to win, as we always do. I don't really. We had a discussion, coaching staff, regarding this, and we've talked to senior players and about it as well, and not in a your opinion might change our view, but just talking about when teams change shape and change approach, for us there's no need. I don't see a need to. We want to make sure that the players, get the shape. We feel it's a shape that suits us in a lot of ways, and let's master that shape. Of course, you might have to have little tweaks in it, and certain situations, during games that you might have to change and be tactically flexible. But let's be the best we can be at our shape, and from our approach, home and away we go to win. So there's no change on that. So we understand the challenges of what we had and what we faced going away from home on Saturday, and the team that we're playing and the environment that we're in, and as well the changes that will be for Wednesday night against a team really that from the get-go was sort of destined to go up with the quality that they've got. And I think Marco will be delighted that he inherited a really strong group that possibly would have been extremely disappointed to have gone down out the Premier League. But I think there was a report come out a couple of weeks ago regarding the huge advantage that teams that come out of the Premier League, whether in first year or second year, have over the other team. So it's a hugely backed, wealthy football club that's been yo-yoing in and out of the Championship to the Premier League for a few years. I think spent an awful long time in the Premier League. And we'll feel that that's where they should be, and it is quite easily we can talk about they are favourites and they should be favourites with the quality they've got and the goals that they've got in them, and going signing Harry Wilson and going signing A, B and C and keeping the players that they've got, but still they've got to go and get the job done, and they're virtually getting the job done, and they're virtually there really. So not congratulations, because they've got games to play and get those results, but I think you look at it, they will get the job done and they will finish champions, but hopefully they've got to work a little bit harder to be in that position after Wednesday night.
Fulham full of goals. I think the fans are expecting a game that will have goals in it. So there you go. I've put the kiss of death on it. It will be 0-0. What are you expecting? Will it be that sort of game where goals will flow?
Well, they haven't changed their shape or style, and they shouldn't, should they? Really, with the players that they've got at disposal, especially at the top of the pitch, you've got 3 outstanding players. They've got great players all over the pitch, but for somebody to score 35 plus goals and going for the Championship record just shows you what sort of player that Mitrovic is, and what he's done in the Championship over the years. He's scored consistently. Harry Wilson's an outstanding player that they paid a big fee for, and they've got the brightest young player outside the Premier League in my opinion in Carvalho. So at the top of the pitch you've got huge threats. You've got threats all over the pitch. They've just got really good players. Got huge competition for places. They go and get Nico Williams from Liverpool, who I would have thought that would have gone into a Premier League club, but in January went to Fulham, which, as I said, is sort of a Premier League club in waiting. You've seen their results. You've seen that they score goals at home. You score goals away from home. So they won't change their approach. So we're going to have to deal with that. It's going to be a different type of game from our point of view, from a defensive point of view as well. We're going to have to really be on it and at it. But we'll have the ball as well, and hopefully going the other way we can cause them a few problems.
Victory, what would that do for your hopes of sealing that place in the playoffs?
Just another result towards where we want to be. We've had we're in a great position, but this job's not done. You know, we have to be consistent with our approach and our attitude and the way we play as well. So, which we have done to get into this position. But I don't want a blip. You know, people will talk about, you know, what's your reaction to disappointment, which has been excellent here. But I don't want that. I don't want to react. I want to keep it going. We want to go between now and the end of the season and go on a run. And if we do that, we give ourselves a huge opportunity of achieving what we're trying to achieve. But we're up against the ultimate test, but one that we're really looking forward to. You know, we've had some, you know, every game when you play for Middlesbrough, are you involved at this football club, is big in this division. There is certain ones that do stand out at home. And you look at the Bournemouth game, you look at the Forest game, you know, you look at the Tottenham game. We've had to produce top class performances to get results, and we need one of those performances to get a result on Wednesday.
Any injury concerns, fresh injuries concerns?
No, as I said pre-Peterborough, you know, we're in a pretty unique position. Martin Piero has increased his workload this week as well. So with one player being out in a group of 23, 24, it's a great position to be in, and hopefully we can continue that.
And finally, for me, the spirit at the team. I mean, is there a sense of hype? Is there a sense of excitement at you know, the remaining few games now?
Yeah, I've talked about it for a long time. I think there is around the place, around the training ground, you know, around where we live, when we interact with punters, when you're coming out, you know, when you go into games on the coach and you see the supporters and the numbers that they follow us. And you know, tomorrow we'll get there at 6:15, and there'll be a huge amount outside the changing rooms looking for autographs and pictures, and you sense it, and so it should be, because that's where we should be. We should be at the top end of the division, trying to get out of the division, and with that comes expectation, but as well comes excitement, and that's the feeling that I'm getting. I'm not feeling a sense of anxiety. I've not felt that since I've been through the door. There's, you know, everybody's right behind us and excited and looking forward to us doing well.
That's good.
Chris, totally get it's all about the result now at this stage of the season, but any time you play the best team in a division, I mean, there's interest and there's a challenge in doing that to see where you are, isn't there?
Well, definitely, yeah. But I think we know where we are. I'd like to be in a little bit better position. But I imagine a few of the clubs will feel the same. But we're confident what we've got, that we can be competitive. We have been, and there's no reason why we won't be between now and the end of the season. I've said all along, the fixture list is what it is for everybody. So I don't look too deeply into that. You know, they've got them, and you know, theirs is a bit harder or a bit easier. We've all got huge challenges. The challenge on Saturday was a big one, off the back of an international break, and we passed that test, and there's another one coming on Wednesday night. And you know what we've got? We've got a month left, haven't we? We've got a month left. We've got some big games in. Well, every game's huge. So, yeah, it's a fabulous challenge for us. You know, it's arguably, you know, ones of, you know, the games of the season. In my opinion, a team that's trying to get to where it wants to be, and a team that's been outstanding all season. So a great challenge, and one that we're all looking forward to.
You had obviously 48 hours to unpack Saturday. How pleased was everyone with that? I mean, clean sheet, 4 goals.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. So a result, a win would have been great. But the manner that we did it, in terms of how we controlled the game, we dealt with their little periods pretty well. And when we were on top, which was for the majority of the game, we were good in between both boxes, and clinical when we had to be. Good contributions off the bench, excellent all-round performances from everybody. I don't think anybody was off par. Some really good performances in that as well, and it's going to have to be that way right the way through. It's definitely going to have to be. You know, we're going to have to produce sort of 7, 8s and 9s on Wednesday because of the calibre of the opposition.
You had some great atmospheres at Riverside, especially during the cup run. Another one would be useful tomorrow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's going to. The supporters get it. The supporters get their sort of influence on us and on the game. And we've seen that wherever we played. You know, at times we've not we've not come up with the goods. You know, a couple of the games, you know, stick in the back of the mind where we've not really, you know, done the support justice. But on other times, you know, we really have done that, and it's going to be hugely important. We're on a fabulous run at home. It's not been given to us. We've had sort of different challenges, different types of games. You know, a couple of scrappy ones in there, a couple of fantastic, you know, some fantastic ones, a couple of late dramas as well. But you know, home form has been fabulous, and you know, it's really is key now that we finish it off in sort of the last month of the season. Important home game starting Wednesday, and I think the supporters know that how they can inspire and influence the players.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers.
Chris, you mentioned the kind of advantage of coming out of the Premier League when you go back into the Championship. I mean, do you have any strong opinions at all on kind of parachute payments and the distribution of wealth?
I've got to say, I've not really thought too much about it. There's a lot of talk about it. You do, you know, a lot of talk about financial fair play and how much, you know, individuals can invest into their football club. So I think it's a balance. We don't want anybody to go to the wall, and you know, even the situation that we've been involved with another club is, I would not think that football people would generally want to really go down that road, but on a situation of financial fair play, because that's what we're talking about. We want as level playing field as possible, and the best team is allowed to succeed. So, you know, from my point of view, there is a huge balance between clubs that really do risk, which they shouldn't, because I've been involved in that and I know the repercussions down the line for it. It does at times make me smile when teams are recklessly spending because supporters are just so delighted about that, but really they don't know the end game or the potential consequences of what can happen. So, you know, we all have to be mindful that we run a tight ship, and but still there should be a level of investment if people have got the funds to go down that road, and then, you know, the sort of rewards for getting in the Premier League are huge, and not a lot of the clubs, you know, in terms of, you know, looking at potential consequences as well for promoted clubs. You know, they don't take into effect that they don't have wage decreases. They just go for it, and unfortunately, you know, there's some situations that are really poor that can occur. But certainly, as the report two or three weeks ago stated, it is a huge advantage for Premier Leagues coming down to go back up. So, in the level of fair play that really we, you know, I should imagine we all want to see that. Yeah, it's a balance, and maybe, you know, things can be put in place. I certainly was at a club that you know, when that obviously got relegated out of the Premier League, and there was a reduction, and I would say universally 50% reduction in everybody's wage, which obviously allowed for that sort of continuity, and the club not being put in a financial position. But I certainly know through you know, through sort of research that always isn't the case. You know, I think there's still players on relegated teams in the Championship that have been relegated sort of 2 or 3 years now. They're still on Premier League wages, which is baffling, really, because of, you know, sort of the income that is not coming into the football club, and the wages that are going out. But at times, you know, when you're signing these players, you know, the excitement and the desire to sign these players is sometimes overtook by a financial sort of intelligence that what might happen. Let's sign him because we're not going to go down. Let's get him because we're not going to go down. Let's buy him because we're not going to go down. Then all of a sudden, we go down, and we're having to deal with that situation. So, yeah, my long-winded sort of explanation of all that is possibly there's something needs to be done about it because of the study saying that the advantages of. But I think when you looked at the start of the season, I think I think anybody who knows the division would have said straight away that Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield United would be huge favourites to go back up. Then you chuck Bournemouth in there that have recently been relegated, and two out of the four have. One's knocking on the door and one's just outside it. There's always a little bit more to it than money, but it certainly gives you a huge advantage.
And just changing it up, like Josh Coburn come off the bench, got another goal. I think noticeably as well in recent games, he's all round. His game seems to be coming on. His physicality seems to be coming on. Is how impressed and how pleased are you with presumably how hard he's working behind the scenes?
Brilliant. I know, Craig, you're the founder and secretary of the Josh Coburn fan club, and so am I. Because I really like him. I like his attitude. He's a great boy to work with, and he's a great one to have in the bag for the future as well. But he's producing right now as well, and this is what we talked about when, quite easily could have gone out. And this is, like I said, another balance off. I should imagine that we could have sent him out on loan, but we thought he had a part to play, and him daily training against the likes of Sol Bamba and getting booted by him, and getting booted by Lee Peltier, and getting booted by Dale Fry, and having to play against some really good players and play with some really good players. I think is part of his development, and his contribution is great. And I thought the contribution of both subs was fabulous on Saturday. Josh gave us a physical presence up there. He kept the ball at the top of the pitch. Centre halves didn't have any free headers, and he links play well, and obviously he got in the box fabulously well from Duncan's driving run. So the contributions of Duncan and Josh and everybody, and I even talked about James Saliki and a few of the other lads who played in the 23s on Friday night. That's really encouraging, and I like stuff like that. I really enjoy stuff like that players, even though they're not involved, they still want to try and get into your group, and that's great for what we're trying to build here.
Yeah, I know you won't want to make any kind of sweeping statements, big predictions, but you'll been around many young talents coming through, etc. If everything goes right for Josh, could he reach the very top? Has he got that potential?
There's a long way to go, and so what you're trying to do is put a little bit of pressure on Josh more than anything. So I'm not bothered. I'll answer the question. He's got a lot of good attributes. He's a hell of a long way to go. Let's keep off of him. Let's enjoy him. Let's enjoy him being around us, and when he gets an opportunity to play, when he gets an opportunity to come on the pitch, But he's contributing, and they all are. So he's coming along nicely, and we're fine. But there's still a hell of a long way to go in terms of his development, the development of other young players, the development of the team. We're at the early stages. We're November we took over, so. In terms of my sort of period here, we're still in the very early stages as well. But everything's going along well, and it couldn't have gone as well as we would have asked it to. And we're all enjoying it, and I'm enjoying watching Josh, and I think he's enjoying playing for the football club supporters. Obviously, I've got that huge connection with the local boys, which is good, and hopefully he can keep going on the way he is.
Did you get your sausages yet?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm sorted. I think they're all gone, so yeah, next order's going in a couple of weeks.
No, just on Marcus Tavernier as well, someone else we touched on briefly on Saturday. I mean, you touched on it earlier in your time here, that you were aware that there was divided opinion, I think, in the fan base with Marcus Tavernier, but in recent months his form has been fantastic. I mean, how impressed have you been with him? Yeah,
he's a talent, and he's got all the attributes to play at the top level, without shadow of a doubt, and he's showing that. Obviously he's a little bit ahead of Josh and the younger ones on his development, a little bit more experience, but I think when a team is sort of mid-table and bottom half, there's always going to be sort of criticism of individuals, criticism of how the team's playing, criticism of everything about the club. you know, the cup of tea on the concourse is not right. You know, the toilets are not right. The season tickets are too high. The shirt prices are too high. You know, he's not doing this. She's not doing that. They're not doing that. I think that's what comes at a big club when it's not going as well as you want it to go. And then obviously, when it gets rolling, everything, you know, the car park attendant smiling today. That's great. So he's not got his head on. And I think that's just how football is. Everything's great, and Tav's playing well, and we're all playing well, and we're all great, and everything changes. You lose a couple, and all of a sudden we're back to the car park attendant's got his head on his again. So I think that's just how football is. But Tav's, I think, has always been, you know, for me, from looking from a distance, is a talent. And there's a lot more to come from him, but he's, you know, I think he's been great. I think that the midfield three have been fabulous, and you know, we keep saying we've got Riley McGree coming back into the frame now. Martin Pierre not a million miles off. Salik he's back with us and will be involved if I need him to be involved, and he's pushing as well. So competition for place, as we talked about, you know, drive standards, but I've got to say he's not really needed that competition. I think his standards have been great. I think we all talk about. I think one of the things that I still talk to him about is you know, especially in that position, is getting in the box from the other side. His energy levels are great. He's takes a lot more care with the ball now. Protects the ball well. He plays his shape defensively, fabulous, and obviously he's got a sweet left foot, as seen on Saturday. But now, obviously, to take to that next level is assists and goals with the other bits and pieces, and we believe he can do that, and hopefully will.
He was someone you were kind of well aware of when you first arrived at the club, then, was he?
Yeah. I mean, you do. You know what the players are like in the division. You know, having worked in the division before, and even when worked in the top division, you knew who the young players were. So, it's like anything else, you knew that Fry, Tavernier, you knew, you know, if you talked about Middlesbrough, you would talk about, you know, Tav, you know, Dale Fry, you'd talk about McNair, wouldn't you? You know, you'd talk about those types of players, like you would talk, you know, regarding Fulham about you know, the players that they've got as well, and players at, you know, other football clubs. So, yeah, he is. I think a lot of people know a lot about him, and it's good. I've got no issue regarding that. You know, speculation and you know paper talk about other clubs being, you know, interested in your players. You know, whatever it is, whether it's the players, whether it's the manager, whether it's whatever it is, it's because something's going right, and you know, ultimately you know, people are doing well in their particular role. So speculation is okay. We'd rather have that. I'd rather have people talking about, you know, the players that we've got, because I do look at it now, and I certainly think that even though we're not in that situation, we've got some good young players that will be, you know, coveted. We obviously there's a player out there that's been coveted that's you know, Jed's obviously been coveted for quite a while, who's obviously contracted to us, and you look at it, and so, you know, we're in a good place. You know, the likes of, you know, Fry, Jones, you know, the younger players, Tavernier, McNair, and I think there's a few more. I think, you know, Riley McGree will come into that bracket, and you know, and other players as well. So and through performances and results, they'll drive that up as well.
On Mitrovic, I mean, obviously the weight of his goals has been pretty remarkable this season. I mean, but you know, your defenders they've dealt with Ronaldo, they've dealt with Kane, they've played Lukaku. I mean, you know, do you just kind of say to them, look, you know, strip the goals away, you can deal with this guy? Yeah,
definitely. I think, you know, that we've had some huge challenges, haven't we, as a back three and a goalkeeper as well. So, you know, Dyche, Still, Fry, and McNair, who've been, you know, consistently that back three have had to deal with that. You know, deal with the likes of Harry Kane, and you know, and these are the challenges. You know, I do keep reminding Dale of Carlton Morris. You know what I mean? You know, wrap Harry Kane up, but can't wrap Carlton Morris up, and that's no disrespect to Carlton Morris, but that's your consistency levels, and I thought Dale was excellent on Saturday, because Clark Johnson-Harris, you know, he's an handful. Marriott's, you know, wants to run off you, so, you know, be consistent with your performances. If you're gonna you know, not wrap Harry Kane up but play extremely well against him, then you got to play well against the other guys. But Mitrovic is another huge challenge for Dale and the boys. But you know, we're not taking a backward step off it. We know we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to, you know, deal with a lot of things. You know, the play, the build-up play, him coming to feet, him getting in the box. The reason he scores 35 goals is because obviously the service that he gets, you know, expected goals and possession and the quality they've got around him. But he's the one that's in the box, so he's a real threat. So of course, you know, we have to play well as a team. But certainly, you know, there's certain sort of situations that we're really going to have to wrap up and be ultra tight with, and dealing with Harry Wilson and Mitrovic and Carvalho is a huge test for us.
And you must be pleased at the other end with the development of Aaron and Fulham in particular, because, you know, as you rightly said, when they came in, they hadn't played a lot of football. It was inevitably going to take them that little bit of time. There was, you know, a little bit of chuntering in their first few games, which is understandable. But, I mean, you know, they've got to, quite quickly, the level, presumably, you were all confident they would be able to get to and wanted them at.
Definitely from the CVs and watching them play and knowing what their attitude's about. Yeah, we basically wouldn't have signed them if we didn't think they could add to the group. So they're young. I think, you know, in an incredibly ideal situation, then we would have possibly gone with a little bit more experience. But you know that wasn't a huge decision to make. And when we came in, obviously we needed to change it around. A couple of boys went out the building, and players came in that suited the system and how we wanted to play. So it wasn't easy for both of them, and it's not going to be easy for them to stay in the team, because they're under huge pressure from, you know, the likes of Josh and Duncan, what they did on Saturday. You know, Sproul is back with us now. Obviously he missed 3 games, went away with the national team. And he's back with us now, so you know, he McGree can play at the top of the pitch as well. So, you know, boys, you know, they've all got to play well. They've got to feel the pressure of competition in a nice way. But you know, Aaron is a little bit, as I say, tetchy, and I quite like that. Yeah. Chucks his arms up in the air a few times more than I would like him to be, but I think that shows you his little aggressive part of it. And I think sometimes if you take that away, I think Craig Benamy was a little bit like that, wasn't he? I think, you know, you saw him; he was an angry young man at times, but when he was producing his best performances. So possibly the same with Aaron. He wants to score, he wants to do well, which is great. You know, I much prefer it that way than somebody, you know, who'll just come up here for 3 months and, you know, a little bit of a breakaway from Brighton and I'm back at Brighton. They all want to do well, which is great.
I mean, there were suggestions over the international break from down at the Brighton end that flying around that there might be a deal potentially be done there. Has there been any consideration given to that?
No, not there's not. You know, I know. You know, we're working away behind the scenes in terms of, you know, sort of potential stuff which we'll always have to medium and long term. You know, sort of outs and ins, and there will inevitably be changes in the summer. So, you know, second window in, and obviously it's still a difficult window, but it's an easier one than January, and to get it what we want it to look like. But, you know, we're here and now. We're not really talked to players about, you know, sort of contract situation. I think we want to full focus on the job in hand, which is obviously, you know, trying to get into the playoffs. And let's not get ourselves distracted by anything like that. So there's been no conversation. But you know, there's still talk, and, you know, where we're going to go, what direction we're going to go, and you know, we'll keep that going.
And just a last one, the club won a community award yesterday, didn't they, from the EFL Community Club of the Year for the region through the national final and stuff. I mean, I know to be fair, you know, all football clubs have really raised the game in the kind of the last decade and everything. But from your kind of experience since you've been here, how you know, proud or whatever of it.
Well, it's just a proper football club with proper supporters that love the club and want to be Middlesbrough. Don't want to be anywhere. Don't want to be anything else. Don't want to be anything like anybody else. Don't want, you know, sister clubs. Don't want anything. Just want to be Middlesbrough. Yeah. Let's be the best that we can be, and help in the area and yeah, I want us to have the best academy. I want us to have the best community scheme. You know, I want us to have the best under 18s, the best 23s. Yeah, car park attendant. You smile, or you're going. Yeah, we want to do everything to the maximum. We want to get everything out of it. You know, we want the best pre-match experience. You know, we want the best we want everything. You know, everything to be as best we possibly can be. And I think that's a way of going about it. You know, and as I said, there's an awful lot that goes on at a football club apart from playing on a Saturday and a Wednesday night. And yeah, delighted. So, you know, congratulations to everybody involved in that. But I knew it before, but knowing it now, it is incredibly sort of tight football club, and the football club is the main player.
And without going down a whole load of cliches, in a part of the world where it can really make a difference, you know.
Incredible, yeah, because it's not London, and it's not, you know, that to go to or this to go to, and this is the area, and this is what we've all been brought up with. I said I come from a similar type of area, Steel City, so I understand how people feel, but they're welcoming and they want you to work hard and they want you to give everything, and they're proud of the team, proud of the football club, and that's what they're goals that we're trying to achieve, you know, on and off the pitch, and we just got to keep it going and keep raising the bar.